Did you know that Billy Preston was the only artist ever credited as a co-performer with the Beatles on their hit single, Get Back? Dubbed the fifth Beatle, his incredible talent added a soulful touch to some of the most iconic songs in music history. But beneath the surface of this musical genius lies a gripping story filled with struggle, heartbreak, and unanswered questions. From his impressive net worth and the intriguing whispers about his personal life, to the haunting mystery of his abandoned house and the tragic circumstances surrounding his death, join us as we delve into the poignant tale of Billy Preston. This captivating journey reveals the complexities of the man behind the music, a story of brilliance, struggle, and ultimate sorrow that you won't want to miss. Billy Preston was an influential American musician who had a net worth of $1 million at the time of his death. However, in the years following his passing, the value of his music catalog and royalty streams skyrocketed, making them worth many millions more. Preston passed away on June 6, 2006, at the age of 59. In the 1960s, he established himself as one of the top session keyboardists, collaborating with major artists like Little Richard, Ray Charles, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles. His remarkable skills on the keyboard helped shape the sound of that era. Later, Preston carved out a successful solo career, scoring hit singles such as Outta Space, Nothing from Nothing, and With You I'm Born Again, solidifying his legacy in the music world. Preston's prodigious talent, evident from a young age, propelled him to the forefront of the music industry, where he collaborated with legendary artists and achieved solo stardom. Early life and career beginnings. Billy Preston was born on September 2, 1946, in Houston, but he and his mother, Robbie Lee Williams, relocated to Los Angeles during his childhood. A true child prodigy, Preston was entirely self-taught and never had a formal music lesson. By the age of 10, he was already playing the organ on stage, backing up legendary gospel singers like Mahalia Jackson. A year later, at just 11 years old, Preston made an appearance on Nat King Cole's NBC TV show, performing Blueberry Hill alongside Cole himself. Not long after, he landed a role in the 1958 biopic Saint, Louis Blues, where he portrayed a young W.C. Handy. Career with the Beatles. Billy Preston is often referred to as the fifth Beatle, and for good reason. After forming a friendship with the band in 1962, he became a key player during the Get Back sessions in January 1969. At one point, John Lennon even suggested that Preston join the band, but Paul McCartney pointed out that it was challenging enough to reach agreements with just the four of them. During those Get Back sessions, Preston brought his talents to the table, playing both organ and electric piano. His contributions were showcased in the film Let It Be and its accompanying album, and his work was highlighted in the 2021 documentary The Beatles, Get Back, directed by Peter Jackson. One of his standout moments came during the iconic rooftop concert, where he accompanied the Beatles on electric piano, marking their final public performance. In April 1969, the single Get Back was credited to The Beatles with Billy Preston, a unique acknowledgement that recognized his significant role in the song. His electric piano was a driving force throughout the track, featuring a memorable extended solo. Additionally, Preston contributed his keyboard skills to the Beatles' Abbey Road album, playing organ on I Want You, She's So Heavy, and Something. Preston's connection to the Beatles extended beyond the studio. In 1978, he appeared as Sgt. Pepper in Robert Stigwood's film Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, where he performed and danced to Get Back in a show-stopping moment. His collaborations with the Beatles left an indelible mark on music history. Solo career. As a solo artist, Billy Preston kicked off his career with his debut album, 16 Year. Old Soul, released in 1963. He followed this up with the most exciting organ ever in 1965, a project that showcased his talents during his regular performances on the popular musical variety show Shindig. In 1969, while signed to the Beatles' Apple label, he released That's the Way God Planned It, produced by George Harrison. The title track not only resonated with audiences, but also became a hit single in the UK, further establishing Preston's reputation in the music scene. After the Beatles disbanded in 1970, Preston continued his collaboration with Harrison, contributing to several of his solo albums. In 1971, after departing from Apple and signing with A&M Records, Preston achieved significant commercial success with his album I Wrote a Simple Song. This album produced the hit instrumental single Outta Space, which soared to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and ultimately earned him a Grammy Award for Best Pop Instrumental Performance. This period marked a high point in Preston's career, showcasing his unique blend of gospel, soul, and pop influences. Billy Preston kept the good times rolling in 1972 with his album Music Is My Life, which featured the hit single Will It Go Round in Circles. He followed that up with more major hits like Nothing from Nothing from his 1974 album The Kids and Me and Space Race from Everybody Likes Some Kind of Music. In 1979, after spending 7 successful years with A&M Records, Preston made a move to Motown, where he teamed up with Syreeta Wright for the beautiful duet With You I'm Born Again, which climbed to number 4 on the charts. However, the 1980s brought some challenges for Preston. Struggling with alcohol and cocaine addictions, he found it tough to maintain his career momentum and shifted his focus mostly to session work. During this period, he released albums like The Way I Am, Pressin' On the Air, and You Can't Keep a Good Man Down. After taking a 9-year break from recording, Preston made a comeback in 1995 with Billy's Back. His last solo studio album, You and I, was released in 1997, showcasing his enduring talent despite the ups and downs he faced along the way. Other collaborations. Among his many other notable collaborations, Preston played keyboards for the Rolling Stones throughout the 70s. He contributed to such albums of theirs as Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Saint, and Black and Blue, and served as their primary touring keyboardist between 1973 and 1977. Beyond the Stones, Preston composed one of Joe Cocker's biggest hits, You Are So Beautiful. Throughout the 80s, Preston did session work for artists including Luther Vandross, Patti LaBelle, and Whitney Houston. He also toured with such artists as Eric Clapton, Ringo Starr, and the band. On November 29, 2001, while touring and fighting his own health problems, Preston received the news that George Harrison had died after a long illness. Preston, among many of Harrison's longtime friends, performed in the 2002 concert for George at the Royal Albert Hall in London. Preston's performance of My Sweet Lord received critical acclaim. Additionally, he sang Isn't It a Pity, provided backing vocals on most of the other songs, and played the Hammond organ for the show. In 2002, Preston made a memorable appearance on Johnny Cash's album American 4. The man comes around, lending his piano skills to the tracks Personal Jesus and Tear-Stained Letter. This collaboration showcased his versatility and continued relevance in the music world. Building on this momentum, in 2004, Preston hit the road, touring with the Funk Brothers and Steve Winwood in Europe. Following that, he joined Eric Clapton for tours across Europe and North America, further solidifying his status as a sought-after musician. After wrapping up these tours, Preston traveled to France, where he was featured in an episode of the Legends Rock TV show. This performance included a heartfelt duet with Sam Moore on the iconic song You Are So Beautiful, marking Preston's last filmed concert. Later that year, Preston also showcased his jazz talents on Ray Charles's album Genius Loves Company, where he played as a jazz organist on the duet Here We Go Again alongside Charles and Norah Jones. His final recorded contributions included gospel-infused organ work on Neil Diamond's 12 Songs in 2005 and keyboard contributions on The Road to Escondido in 2006, a collaboration between Eric Clapton and J.J. Cale. These projects showcased his enduring talent, even in the face of health challenges. In late 2005, Preston took the stage for his last public performance in Los Angeles, promoting the re-release of the iconic 1972 documentary, The Concert for Bangladesh. He performed a heartfelt set featuring 3 George Harrison songs, Give Me Love, My Sweet Lord, and Isn't It a Pity? Religion. Billy Preston grew up in the African-American gospel tradition and remained a devoted Christian throughout his life. He wasn't shy about expressing his faith, as seen in his popular 1970s song, That's the Way God Planned It. However, his beliefs sometimes clashed with the more secular vibe of the rock and roll scene he often found himself in. Still, he was willing to set aside his religious views to collaborate on projects like John Lennon's song, God, which was openly atheistic. Preston had a strong bond with his mother, and his deep love for her inspired him to write his best-known song, You Are So Beautiful. This heartfelt tribute captures the essence of their relationship and reflects his genuine feelings. Despite his public image as a joyful and optimistic musician, Preston carried deep-seated scars from his past sexuality. Preston's life was marked by struggles that he kept hidden from the public eye. Behind the scenes, he grappled with the lasting impact of traumatic experiences from his childhood, including the sexual abuse he suffered at the hands of a touring company's pianist when he was just 9 years old. This painful episode, which occurred after his family moved to Los Angeles for a production of Amos and Andy, was further complicated by his mother's failure to believe him when he reported the abuse. As Preston grew older, he also struggled to come to terms with his homosexuality, which he felt conflicted with his strong Christian faith. Although his friends and associates in the music industry, including Keith Richards, were aware of his orientation, Preston didn't publicly acknowledge it until shortly before his death. In his autobiography, Keith Richards shared his own observations about Preston's inner turmoil. In a candid interview with his manager, Joyce Moore, Preston eventually opened up about the lifelong trauma he had carried with him. Moore revealed that Preston had confided in her about the abuse he suffered at the hands of the pianist, as well as a local pastor. These experiences had a profound impact on Preston's life, shaping his relationships and influencing his decisions in profound ways. Another painful moment in Billy Preston's life happened in the early 1970s while he was engaged to actress and model Kathy Silva. During this time, he had developed a close friendship with musician Sly Stone and contributed significantly to Stone's recordings, including the influential album There's a Riot Going On. However, everything changed when Preston returned home one day to find Sly in bed with Kathy, who later married Sly on stage at Madison Square Garden. This betrayal hit Preston hard, and according to his manager Joyce Moore, it was a turning point for him. Following this incident, he stopped pursuing relationships with women altogether. It was around this time that he began using cocaine and exploring relationships with men. Moore noted that she saw his drug use as a way for him to cope with the internal struggles he faced regarding his sexuality, legal issues, and drug addiction. In 1991, Preston sought help for his struggles with addiction by checking into a rehabilitation program. However, his progress was short-lived. Just a few months later, in August of the same year, he was arrested for a string of serious charges. While on probation for a DUI conviction, Preston was accused of picking up a 16-year-old boy at a gathering point for day laborers and taking him to his home in Malibu. The boy alleged that Preston had smoked cocaine, shown him explicit images, and attempted to assault him before he managed to escape. Further investigation revealed that Preston had also been involved in a separate incident the day before, where he had allegedly assaulted a man he had hired to work at his home. When tested, Preston's system showed positive for cocaine. Preston ultimately pleaded no contest to the cocaine and assault charges, and the sex-related charges, including child molestation and showing explicit material to a minor, were dropped. As a result, he was sentenced to 9 months in rehab and 3 months of house arrest. In 1992, Billy Preston faced another setback when he was sentenced to 30 days in jail for violating his probation related to a drunk driving conviction. Unfortunately, this was just the beginning of a series of legal troubles. By 1997, his situation worsened when he received a 3-year prison sentence for cocaine possession, again violating his probation. Earlier that year, he had tested positive for cocaine, which led to a probation agreement requiring him to serve 90 days in jail and maintain sobriety. While he was in prison in 1998, things took an even darker turn. Preston was indicted for a $1 million insurance fraud scheme after intentionally setting fire to his own house in Los Angeles. He ultimately pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against others involved in the scheme. His plea deal resulted in 5 years of probation, a year in jail, and a restitution payment of $60,000. This sentence was to run concurrently with his cocaine possession conviction. Despite these challenges, Preston found ways to uplift himself while serving time at California's Avenal State Prison. He led a chorus and performed at church services, using music as a source of solace and expression. After serving 18 months of his 4-year sentence, he emerged seemingly drug-free, hopeful for a new chapter in his life. Death. In his later years, Billy Preston faced significant health challenges, primarily stemming from kidney disease that developed due to his hypertension. Despite receiving a kidney transplant in 2002, his health continued to decline. Seeking to turn his life around, Preston voluntarily entered a drug rehabilitation clinic in Malibu, California. Unfortunately, while there, he experienced severe complications, including pericarditis, which ultimately led to respiratory failure. This critical condition left him in a coma starting on November 21, 2005. Tragically, Billy Preston passed away on June 6, 2006, in Scottsdale, Arizona, leaving behind a legacy of musical brilliance and philanthropy. His funeral, held on June 21, 2006, was a heartfelt tribute to a man whose influence had touched many lives. The service lasted nearly 3 hours and was filled with moving performances and tributes. Joe Cocker lent his powerful voice, while Little Richard shared poignant memories, celebrating the life of his friend and fellow musician. A brass band played a soulful rendition of Amazing Grace, adding to the emotional atmosphere. Billy Preston was laid to rest at Inglewood Park Cemetery in Inglewood, California. His funeral not only celebrated his remarkable career, but also honored the man behind the music, a true talent, whose legacy continues to inspire fans and musicians alike. Beyond his music, Billy Preston left behind a physical legacy in the form of an abandoned house, a silent testament to his life and time's abandoned house. An abandoned house in Scottsdale, Arizona, once owned by legendary musician Billy Preston, holds a mysterious and captivating story. According to the well-known journalist Bob Woodward, Preston purchased this property around 1992 for approximately $150,000. Tucked away off the quiet Route 64, the house has stood as a puzzling landmark in the desert for nearly 2 decades. What makes this property truly intriguing is the unusual contrast between its abandonment and its near-perfect condition. While most neglected homes fall into disrepair, this house seems to defy time. Despite having no nearby neighbors and standing isolated in the harsh Arizona desert, it has remained incredibly well preserved. Even more surprising is the fact that the house has been left unlocked, yet the interiors, walls, floors, and ceilings, are all remarkably pristine, as if untouched by the passage of time. The desert elements that typically wear down such structures seem to have had little effect here. The only sign of aging comes from an external warehouse on the property, which shows noticeable wear and tear. This dilapidated outbuilding contrasts sharply with the immaculate main house, adding yet another layer to the mystery of this desert property. What makes this house even more puzzling is the mystery behind its abandonment. For almost 20 years, it has stood empty. Yet it shows no signs of squatters or significant vandalism, something rare for an unattended property. Preston's investment, like many others, seems to have drifted into limbo after his passing in 2006. Despite being a high-profile real estate owner, the reasons for this particular property's neglect remain unclear. Was it simply forgotten amidst Preston's personal and financial challenges later in life? Or is there a deeper, untold story waiting to be uncovered? As our investigation unfolds, we're committed to digging deeper into the secrets of this enigmatic residence. Why was it abandoned, yet so meticulously preserved? Who, if anyone, has been responsible for maintaining its pristine condition? And what role did Preston's real estate dealings play in this home's unusual fate? Our goal is to bring these hidden details to light, offering answers to a mystery that has baffled observers for years. Stay tuned as we continue piecing together the story of this desert enigma, unraveling the long-buried history behind it. Cars. In the 1950s, Billy Preston was riding high on the charts, and his choice of car reflected his success and taste for luxury. The Bentley Mark VI was a symbol of sophistication and class, perfectly matching Preston's smooth and iconic persona. This car was not just a mode of transportation, but a statement of style and elegance. The Bentley Mark VI came equipped with a 4.25-liter inline-six engine, offering about 130 horsepower. While it wasn't built for sheer speed, maxing out at around 100 miles per hour, its real strength was in delivering a smooth, comfortable ride. This balance of performance and luxury made it a perfect fit for someone like Billy Preston, who valued both. Stepping inside the Bentley Mark VI was just as impressive as seeing it from the outside. With plush leather seats, rich wood accents, and plenty of legroom, it provided an elegant and stylish space to relax. Picture Billy Preston cruising down Sunset Boulevard, sunglasses on, enjoying the blend of luxury and comfort that matched the sophistication of his music. His cars offers a window into his personality and lifestyle. It reveals his appreciation for quality, elegance, and performance. For fans and car enthusiasts alike, Preston's Bentley is more than just a car. It's a piece of history, a symbol of success, style, and sophistication, much like the man himself. Charity. Billy Preston wasn't just a musical powerhouse, he was also a force for good, using his platform to make a real difference in the world. One of the most remarkable aspects of his philanthropy was his deep commitment to supporting children's education. Through various foundations and personal contributions, Preston worked tirelessly to open doors for underprivileged youth, giving them a chance at a brighter future. But Preston didn't stop at just financial donations. He was incredibly hands-on in his efforts. He showed up at events, led fundraisers, and inspired countless others to get involved in the cause. His passion for education was infectious, as he genuinely believed in its power to transform lives and uplift entire communities. Whether he was speaking to a group of students or rallying support from fellow musicians, Preston's enthusiasm for creating educational opportunities was evident. Moreover, his contributions extended beyond just money and appearances. He often mentored young artists, sharing his knowledge and experience to help them navigate their own paths in the music industry. This personal touch made a significant impact on many lives, proving that he cared deeply about nurturing the next generation. Today, Preston's legacy of giving continues to shine just as brightly as his music. His dedication to helping young people reflects his belief that education is the key to creating a better world for generations to come. The values he championed, compassion, commitment, and community, still resonate today, inspiring countless others to follow in his footsteps. His life's work, both in music and philanthropy, serves as a powerful reminder of the difference one individual can make, encouraging us all to strive for positive change in our own communities. Thanks for sticking around and watching the whole video. We want to hear from you, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed what you saw, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more exciting content. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye.